Hey, hey.
Morning, man. How are you?
I am good. How's everybody?
Good. Really good. Thanks for jumping on today. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Looks
So,
like
for
everyone's
anyone that's,
looks
go
like
ahead.
everyone's hiding on us.
They'll be hopping on the screens here. I guess they're just getting logged in and getting things rocking. But yeah, if you could be on screen this morning, guys, get the most out of the call, that'd be awesome. So, for anyone that's just joining the call for the very first time, every Tuesday at 10 a.m., I like to put together a kind of a leadership call with incredible people, entrepreneurs, successful, not just in the business that we're in, but in a lot of businesses in the world. And sometimes we have leadership topics. Sometimes we have, some skill training, just lots of different things. My goal in 2021 is to, show love to the world and give and help change the world one leader at a time. For those of you that haven't subscribed, it's Clear Channel. So we upload this to YouTube. So it's called Clear Channel. Subscribe if you can. Again, we put up content every single week. And I'll tell you, today is we're getting a chance to talk with Micheal. I'm indebted to Micheal with the career that he's offered me and gave me a chance to be a part of. Micheal, I don't know if you know this, but January 16th, 2002, 19 years ago, here in 4 days, is when I started in your company in Cherry Hill, New Jersey,
Mm-hmm.
as
That's
a
awesome.
as a 3-year-old, young man just getting started in my career. So that makes me 23 today, I guess 2022 now. But I just graduated from Penn State, of course, as some of you guys know, and I walked in the door of Micheal's sales company in New Jersey, and I guess from what they say, the rest is history, right?
Yeah. That's awesome,
So
man.
crazy, huh?
Green Tree Road.
Green Tree Road, remember that? So the
Yeah.
office space
Oh,
was in a little strip mall back in the corner next to the bagel shop and the pizza place and
grocery store. Remember the guy next door?
yeah.
Mr. Kim?
Yep. Oh
Yeah.
man. Good
Fresh
times. So
produce.
Micheal, just to get started, do you mind just sharing a little bit of your background, where you're from, your upbringing, and obviously you moved around a little bit in business.
Is called direct.
And then we're gonna we gotta, I know I emailed you some questions and things, and maybe
Yeah, I'm
we'll
ready.
open
I
up
got
some Q&A at the end.
for sure. Yeah. Well, welcome everybody to the call. I think it's awesome that you're doing this, Ken. It's great. I started the business a long time ago, back in 1999. And I was talking to someone, I think it was our org call yesterday, how, in 2020, I'm not surprised at how resilient we were, because that's what we do. If you're on this call, you're resilient, you have goals and dreams and a vision of something better. You don't want to just tippy toe through life and pay taxes and then go lay in the ground somewhere. So I started February 12th of 1999. I grew up in Salem, Virginia, a little small town called Salem. It's not where the witch trials are. There's a Salem in every state. People always ask me that. So I have one of those towns that's in every single state: Salem, Oregon, Salem, Washington, Salem, Nebraska, whatever. So I grew up there, went to a small liberal arts school called Roanoke College. We were in the Old Dominion Athletic Conference, played basketball and soccer, started our club baseball team. I was just an athlete all around. I love sports. It got me out of the house. My mom and I didn't get along that great, so anything I could do outside the house. And after school, a couple of my fraternity brothers were like, "You should come and work with us in Merrill Lynch up in New York City." So right out of school, I was like, "All right, I'll get out of Salem, Virginia." Architects in Virginia made less than trashmen in New York, so I was like, "All right, I could probably make more money living in a bigger city, which was wrong, naive. So I went and was studying for the Series 6, Series 7 as a stockbroker trainee, Midtown Manhattan, 5th Avenue and 57th. And was there for under a year and just decided I was looking for a little bit different path. So I relocated back from New York to Charlotte. And I was bartending here at a bar called Sir Edmund Halley's and working at another bank called First Union, which recently, many years ago got merged with Wachovia or Wells Fargo and then Wachovia. I don't know who owns who now, but and I was just sitting around and just not happy. Obviously, I wasn't doing the job I wanted to do. The internet wasn't invented yet. I know that sounds a little crazy, but 20 plus years ago, we answered ads in newspapers. There's a section in the newspaper. If you don't know what a newspaper is, it's a really tall, thin piece of paper with usually black print on it. And, it's where you get information. But in the back of that paper was a section called the classifieds. And that's where you could get jobs or you could buy a car. You could get anybody that was selling something. So I answered ad in the newspaper. And I went in and met with Brandy. I told Brandy, I was here for the management position because, I'd had a job. I got all the way to Eagle Scout. I was captains of my teams in sports. I was here for the management role. And she said, yeah, I know. That's what we're hiring for. And then I was in the field going business to business on AT&T. So I was kind of confused, but I liked Brandy and I knew that Brandy had actually done the work that she was going to be asking me to do. So I did respect that. She was 23 at the time and I was 25 when I started. And what really got me was the fact that there was no seniority. There was 100% promotion from within. So anyone working there was going to be the next manager. And everybody started at the beginning or entry level. And I felt like, well, if everyone has the same playing field and everyone starts in the same spot, then it's really up to me. For once in 10 years of working, I had a chance to grow my career based on what I actually brought to the table every day and my attitude. So I was a little taken back. So keep in mind, Sidcor was only around for a few years at this point. We had one client, AT&T, and we had one division, business to business. So it was kind of the opposite effect. When I started, it was a mad dash to get to a city that was open. You knew what you were working on because we only had one client. So I got promoted to leadership in a couple of weeks. I got promoted to assistant manager in 6 months. I took out 31 second interviews. I rang the bell 64 days in a row. I wasn't God's gift to the field. I just was excited. And I knew every person I talked to had a chance to make money. And I like making money because I didn't have any. And got promoted to assistant manager. And then opened my first office Halloween weekend. Every time I say this, I think of this song by Ghetto Boys. This year, Halloween fell on the weekend. Every time I say that, I think of that song playing sports. But anyways, old song. You probably don't know who those guys are, but they were great. So Halloween weekend, I opened my office in actually Wynwood, Pennsylvania, in a partnership with Matt Osborne. And then him and I we weren't good partners together. We were just too big of idiots. So I finally moved from his office over to Cherry Hill side of the river. And in 2001, we finally started a program called Quill. It was this office supply company. And Jamie Hepp and I and a few people, and we put Quill on the map. So that was our second campaign ever. Ken and Andy and I were instrumental on that campaign. We were the first office to ever do 300 new accounts in a week. Ken was the top rep in the entire country. They put a picture of him on the Quill flyer. So Ken would walk into businesses with his picture on this flyer that we're handing to customers. And they're like, they look at the flyer, they look at Ken, he's like, yeah, I want a contest. And so he got to walk around with the flyer on it. I was in the insert and Jamie and one of his reps were on the back cover. So we dominated Quill. Then we got asked to go to Chicago in 2002. So I moved with 10 leaders, including Ken Lear, Andy Bruinger, and a few other people that we promoted to management, Megan Spivey, Jason Bossart, a few people, and we grew there. I was there for 10 years, promoted Ken Lear out in 03 and Andy the same year. And I got promoted to org consultant in 04 and then senior national in 2007. And then in 2012, I decided to take my talents to Scottsdale. And that's a LeBron James, get it, take my talents to. Decided to move out to Scottsdale because I wanted to get a little bit warmer weather. Chicago was kind of cold. And decided to go out and work in Arizona. 2012 also hit the executive consultant requirements, which are 80 offices, 8 first gen, and $500K a week for 2 months, I believe. And then in March, I decided to get back to the East Coast, and I moved to Charlotte, which is where I'm at now. Came back here in end of March. And since I've been back, I promoted 2 people to management. I promoted Pedro to Greensboro, North Carolina, and Braxton to Houston. And I'm rebuilding right now my office. And currently we have a little over 70 offices in our organization. And we're just, we got a lot of momentum. We got a lot of people that are going to get promoted. This year, we should promote 2 more org consultants, Becky Blatz, Mike Layfeld, and hopefully Adam Arvanetti. And Ken will get promoted to senior national this year as well. And so, or, you know, by the end of the year at least. And we just want to keep growing. You know, Gary wants to make this a $1 billion company, multi-billion, and we're only at 300 million right now. So there's a lot of room. People are asking me like, well, you know, is there more opportunity now than when you started? And I'd say there's always opportunity. We're always going to figure out something new to do. We got retail, we got, you know, we got residential, we have Amazon now. We're going to be probably working with Microsoft and Google. And it's just, there's always something new on the horizon to get really good at. So, you know, there's going to be a ton of opportunity. So that's a little bit about me. When I started and up to this point.
Awesome. Yeah. And Michael, I mean, on our call yesterday with a lot of our partners in the business, you know, just the Target deal. I mean, there's something like 700 stores they want us to get into by the end of the year. And we're just tapping into the 400 or so we launched in the middle of the pandemic, you know? So yeah. a lot of good things happen in a lot of places. So
yeah, absolutely.
So Michael, you're a published author. So if anyone that wants to read an incredible book, the Handbook to You, right? He's got a copy there next to him. You can get it on Amazon. You're also a self-made millionaire, entrepreneur, 20 plus years. You started a podcast called The Sessions Effect. It's one of my, whenever I have someone new in the team in my office, I'm like, hey, if you want to learn life and business and want to get better and in your own time, The Sessions Effect is huge. It's got 100,000 downloads or something. Yeah, to your point,
1.5 million.
1.5 million
on Apple downloads alone. Yeah, we have Stitcher Radio and Google Play Music, but just on Apple alone, 1.5 million.
Amazing. Yeah. And you just mentioned, you know, your business is expanding, and when the world of a pandemic's happening, and a lot of people are not, a lot of like major companies are filing Chapter 11. You know, so my first kind of thought is, thinking of the mind, how it works, and how you think, and how you can dominate when there's so many other people making excuses in the same world that you're dominating in. Any thoughts around that?
Yeah, I mean, everyone gets to choose how they think, right? No one can make you think anything you don't want to think. Not the news, not your environment. I mean, you get the choice. So, you know, a lot of people got rich in the Great Depression because they refused to accept that they were in a Great Depression. And so, you know, your thinking can produce tangible things. So let me just repeat that. Your thinking mind can produce physical things in your life. So why not allow it to choose things that are positive, right? You know, there's people that are worried about, you know, getting COVID and to the point where they're actually taking their own lives because they're worried about getting it. Like that's a pretty strong mindset, right? So that's obviously a very drastic situation and an unfortunate situation. But, you know, if you think about our business, it's very thought based. It's not always about the person who went to the best school or, you know, has their master's degree or, you know, their parents were successful. None of that stuff matters. It's the person who can outthink the obstacles on a daily basis. And I knew that people were going to be sitting around and I just wasn't going to be that person. One, I've been doing the business for a long time and, you know, never worked in a pandemic, but in 2008, this all happened. In 2012, this happened. You know, there's a market crash, a recession, and that's when we really maximized our growth. So, you know, I happen to believe the world is a much safer and healthier place than it is unsafer and unhealthier. Think about that for a second. There's more healthy people in the world and in the United States than there is unhealthy. And there's more safety in the United States than there is unsafe. But the perception that the news gives you, the crooked communist news, is that no, we're unsafe. You got to be scared. You got to be worried. And you know, I think all media people should go to jail for the most part because they're lying to you. And so I'm just not going to fall, you know, into a trap of believing anything that I don't want to believe. So if I believe all that, that's my choice. It's like if you watch a scary movie and you think Jason's in your closet when you go to bed, that's your choice, right? So he's not in your closet, by the way. So use your mind for positive. That's why I wrote this book. I'm so passionate about the thinking mind. You know, think about the Wright brothers. What do you think people thought of them and told them? Oh, wait, you want us to fly like birds? And then, you know, Henry Ford, the horseless carriage. You want to wait, how's the carriage going to move, Henry? Well, we're going to create something that produces movement in it. Oh, okay. Not a horse, not a horse. Horsepower in the engine. So anyways, you know, there's going to be times in your life where people probably telling you that, you know, what are you doing? Are you nuts? Take the safe route. But the safe route never led to freedom. It led to prison. And, you know, people telling you what to do your whole life. And that's what I'd had in corporate America. I was a little robot in corporate America. And that's fine. You know, it paid the bills and, you know, I wasn't picking on anyone. I just wanted more out of life. So think about what you think about all day. When you get home tonight, sit down, pour yourself a nice glass of wine or a beer or not, water, whatever. You don't have to drink, but write down the 10 things that you think about all day, every day. What do you think about all day? So eventually the pandemic's going to go away, probably August. Hopefully we have enough vaccines and, you know, everything will be good to go. And so hopefully we won't have to think about that anymore. I don't think about it anyways, but, and usually probably money or debt is on that list. And if you just think about the things that you could eliminate in your life, that would be nice not to have to think about income or money because you had enough, right? So just think about the things that you think about and then ask yourself, do these things benefit me on a daily basis? And if they don't, we need to change up the formula, right? Because if you're thinking about things that aren't good for you, but then you're trying to go out and be successful, that doesn't make any sense, right? It's not going to be an advantage to you and you're not going to be able to, you know, be successful. So no one can make you think anything you don't want to think. So the choice is yours. So make sure you're in an environment where you have encouraging, loving, caring people, and you know, don't fall subject to the news or propaganda or whatever, right? Because there's people thriving in today's world, not necessarily always not thriving.
Awesome. You know, one of the things when I think of you, Micheal, one of the big things you taught me in my early 20s was how to be more confident in myself. And, confidence is a little tricky. You can have too much confidence and come across as a little bit cocky and which is kind of maybe a negative. And then you could have too little confidence where it could get you in trouble. What do you think about, what are your thoughts around people that need to build their own confidence, to believe more in themselves? Any daily activities or routines that you would suggest?
Well, everyone's confident. Think about that. Raise your hand if you're confident in brushing your teeth. So everyone has confidence. It's just a matter of what do you want to be confident in? And how did you become confident in brushing your teeth? Hold on one second, guys.
Practice.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. So, wait, what do you?
Sorry, guys. We're doing corporate training day 2. Everyone's confident, and you get confident in brushing your teeth. Now, if you change your hands, how long would it take you to get confident with the other hand? Well, it would take you a certain amount of days, right? So everyone has confidence. I don't have confidence in fixing a car, and I'm gonna probably stay unconfident in fixing cars because I don't really care to learn how to fix a car. So there's certain things in your life that you could just stay ignorant to. Don't worry about it. But if you want to get confident in the field or with training or with interviewing, don't you just have to make the commitment that you're going to practice? It's really that simple. Confidence comes through the forms of repetition in a certain subject. Ken's a lot more confident at soccer than a lot of you because he's played it his entire life. Just like a lot of you, or maybe one of you on here, is confident in tennis. And I'm not great at tennis. I haven't played tennis. I can hit the ball, but I have no idea what I'm doing. And so once you've made the decision, this is the number one defining key in being successful. And I wrote a whole chapter about it. It's deciding, what do you want to be great at? What do you want to be good at? And think about it. You're good at something right now. Everyone's good at something. Maybe you're good at writing poems. Maybe you're good at playing tennis. Maybe you're good at running marathons. Maybe you're good at public speaking. And at some point you decided, hey, I'm going to get really good at this. And then I'm going to practice it until I get it. And usually there's a passion of something that's involved, right? So everyone's confident. Confidence is there. It's just a matter of, what do you want to get confident at? Well, the reason a lot of people don't get confident at our business is because they think it's door to door, or I'm standing at a table in a Target. But opportunity sometimes comes disguised as a door to door sales job, right? So the Edison dictating machine, if you read Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, there was a young man that decided he was going to be Thomas Edison's right-hand man. And when the Edison dictating machine came out, all the guys that were the sales guys for Edison were like, we can't sell this thing. It's too bulky. People don't want it. It's like a huge thing. Like, people aren't going to want this. And I forgot the guy's name, but I should know that. But this guy's like, I'll sell it. And this guy ended up selling the Edison dictating machine. He installed them and became Thomas Edison's partner for as long as they were alive. And so sometimes the opportunity looks like, a bulky, ugly looking machine, but really it's an opportunity to create a life of wealth and a business partnership with a guy named Thomas Edison. So of course, the field's going to come disguised as something that's not pretty. Hey, Catherine, are they not on there? All right. Sorry, guys. So does that make sense? So, you can get confident in anything. If you made a decision like, hey, I'm going to get really good at the field, anyone can get good at the field. It's just you have to make that decision that you're going to do it. But why you want to do it? Well, your goals have to be bigger than anything that's going to get in the way of keeping you from hitting that goal. Right? Your goals have to be bigger than the obstacles and the day-to-day baloney that's telling you to do something else, right? I just knew that clients would always need what we do. So if I could get good at the field, I could get into a management role and I would always have a career. And, 21 years later, here we are, right? So does that make sense about confidence? Everyone's confident. Just no matter what you want to get confident in.
Awesome. Michael, I knowing a lot of your upbringing and how well you've done in business, you've always had this gratitude towards life and gratitude towards not just our opportunity. I mean, I've seen you single Michael buddies. We were roommates back in the day. To marrying, in my opinion, marrying up. When you meet Amanda, a NFL cheerleader who's just a super stud athlete from college, and now 4 beautiful children later, and truly changing the trajectory of their lives from your choices. Do you mind sharing? I know it's a little personal, but why you have such gratitude towards life and you're so positive and your mentality is just so, strong.
Yeah, well, it's all a foundation of my faith in God and Jesus. And so, I feel like God's blessed me with the ability to do what I do. I have a gift. I could say something on this call that might change someone's life, and I don't take that for granted. And my faith is first. I live my days always. I know God's watching, so I got to be a good man, even when I'm alone. I got to be a good man. I got to do the right things, and that's just how I believe, right? So, there's something bigger than me and this business and Amanda and my kids, and so as long as I keep my life in order, God, my wife, my children, and then my business, then it never gets out of order. So when you live for a higher being and a higher thing, and I'm not trying to, jam religion down your throat. Religion gets in the way of faith all the time. You don't have to go to church to be, religious or have faith. But when you live for a higher thing, then, everything gets, it makes everything a little bit easier. I've never wavered in my faith during this time. God always keeps his promises. He's been sending plagues to the world since the book of Genesis. So this is nothing new if you understand history. And so, yeah, I was like, man, I've been gifted with an ability to help people live the way they want to live. And I can't waste that. I wasn't gifted, although I was pretty fast. I wasn't gifted with the 4.3 40, or if you watched Alabama last night, Smith, that guy's probably one of the best route runners, in the last 10 years. I wasn't gifted with route running and, ability to catch 3 touchdowns in a national championship game. Sorry, Ohio State fans. But my gift I can have forever. And so I really felt like, man, don't take this for granted. And of course, when you're a man of faith and you are living your best life, of course, you're going to attract people into your life like Amanda. I'm not going to attract Amanda into my life if I'm, just, not on my game. Right. So, you all have to understand that you have special gifts. You have the ability to deal with people. You have the ability to set goals. You have the ability to have a vision and see things before they actually happen to you. And so for me, I didn't take that for granted. I felt like I was blessed, and how can I honor what God's given me than to live every day to my best ability, have an impact on people. Now, I didn't mean I get up every day and I feel great. I get up too sometimes and I don't feel that great. but I choose to accept that I'm happy, healthy, and wealthy, even when I don't feel good. And so I get to choose that. And so, one, I want to be a great example for my children. And the number one way to be a great example is to treat their mother with gratitude and grace. So running a great business is very parallel to running and having a great marriage. And what you put into it, you're going to get out of it. You know, if I treat Amanda like she's my like servant and cook me dinner and do my laundry, that's not a marriage. That's not marriage. You know, I cook and clean just as much as she does. And well, maybe not as much, but I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty. I learned that living with Ken and Andy in an apartment. We all had to do our chores, right? So we've all been gifted with things and gifted with abilities. I just choose to look at it on a higher level, and I don't want to waste that gift because it gives me meaning every day. It's what gets me up every morning. You know, I knew I had this call today, and I was like, man, I might say something that could change someone's life for the rest of their life. I was like, so God, help me be on my game today. Make sure I'm ready. Make sure I'm prepared. And because there's people listening, and someone might hear something today and go, I'm going all the way. And that doesn't mean anything for me necessarily, but I just want you to understand, like, the customers, you might have that impact on a customer. You might have that impact on a new person. You know, if you're a trainer right now, you're teaching someone skills that they'll have for the rest of their lives. Think about someone you trained and maybe they were with you for 2 weeks and, you know, you haven't seen them in a while. And you ask them 6 years later, if you saw them in a bar, hey, do you remember a guy named Sanjay? And they'd be like, of course I remember Sanjay. He trained me in the field. Oh, okay, cool. So that's the impact we're having. But sometimes we go, oh, I'm doing door-to-door sales. No. If that's what you think you're doing, then yeah, that's what you're doing. You're learning to have an impact on people's lives. Customers sign up with you more often than not because they like you, not because you're saving them money or because you have gift cards. And every time they think about who helped them get their phone service, by the way, people that sign up with AT&T are usually a customer for an average of 8 years. I don't know if you guys knew that or not. 8 years. So we need to negotiate some more commissions, I think. That's a long time. So I'm like, I'm having an impact on the customers. I'm giving them my smile. I'm giving people I'm training confidence. I'm giving them encouragement and love. And in my opinion, the world needs more love. Love stronger than fear. And so that's just how I look at it, you know, and I've lived a blessed life. Ken's right. But I planned it this way. When I was single and running around with Ken, my goal was to become successful so that I could marry the girl I wanted and give her the ring I wanted, not the one that I could afford or put on a credit card or whatever. I set my life up so then when that happened, things would be ready. Number one reason for divorce in America. Anybody have a wild guess?
Finances.
Right. So guess what? If you have a shitload of money, you don't have to worry about that. You got to worry about your marriage game, not your financial game. So take the next 3 years and be selfish. Get really successful. And if you're a female on the call and you want to have a family, great. You can pay for a nanny while you run your company. Or you can afford to stay at home. You give yourself choices, right? Brandy did both. She had a family and she's the number one consultant in the company, as far as I'm concerned. You know, and I love John, don't get me wrong, but I just think Brandy's just a whole, you know, they bring different things to the game. And so, you know, science and theology have both agreed to this. Human potential is infinite. And when we go to validation for things, those are the two big areas that we go to prove things. If you're not a theologian, that's okay. You're on this Zoom call, so I know you believe in science because this is happening. I'm in Charlotte and you're wherever you're at. Science says the same thing. Human potential is infinite, and we get what we think about most often every day. And so if they're saying that, I'm not above any of those two divisions. I'm going to do my thing then. I gotta be focused on what I'm doing. And here's the catch. If you're going to work somewhere, why not work in a business where it allows you the chance to be a multimillionaire? Merrill Lynch never promised me that. First Union never promised me that. Mac and Bob's restaurant in college never promised me that or gave me that ability. I was never going to own Mac and Bob's. Does that make sense? So if it's a little different on the front end, doesn't it need to equal a little different on the back end? Absolutely. I'm going to probably make 50 grand this year just from promoting 2 people to management and the promoting owner bonus. So Citcor's paying me to do what I'm supposed to do already. So I'm like, man, okay. You're going to give me 50 grand to give 2 people opportunity? Okay, no problem. I'm going to do it anyways, but does that make sense to you guys? So I just, life has a bigger meaning to me than just money. Money is a byproduct of how you treat people, how well you study, the good person that you are, and you can't let your bank account dictate your actions. The appearance right now is that you don't have a lot of money. Maybe some of you. Well, Michael, how am I supposed to be happy when I'm at, like, my bills are behind? And I get it because I've been there. Creditors calling me more than, old girlfriends. So that sucks, right? And so, okay, what do I tell this guy? Okay. And yeah, I had student loans. All of my credit cards went in default. Like, it sucked. And, but I was able to make a swoop of a pen once I was a manager and paid it all off. Sent Roanoke College $23,000 in a check and paid off all my student loans. So all because I was wanting to go in the field for 6 months and teach 4 people how to get to leadership. And so you really have your hands on something special. We made it through the pandemic. The clients need us even more. We worked through the pandemic. Ken figured out, and his team, Jason and Sanjay and Chad and everybody, they figured it out during the pandemic. Target. And that's going to lead us to Kroger, the biggest food chain in North America or food store. So that's how I look at it. It is a little deep, loaded question, but that's my personal opinion on it. And, I think we're all very blessed. If you're on this call, you deserve to live a great life if you're wanting to put that work in. So.
Awesome. Yeah. And to your point, we're testing Kroger in 2 weeks. We're testing Costco in 2 weeks. So there's some things that are happening faster than we know it. So
they already gave us Sam's Club for NRG. They're like, you guys got it. NRG's yours, or Sam Club's yours. So we got Sam Clubs for NRG. So.
And there's 600 Sam's Clubs.
Yeah.
So lots of things happening. So Michael, and kind of wrapping up, I know one of the things I learned a ton from you is the positive affirmations, the writing the check. I'm so happy and so grateful now that can you walk through that mindset routine and how to think and how to drive towards your results, and we'll kind of end on that.
Yeah, I mean, your subconscious mind is where feeling is created. So your conscious mind is where you get to accept or reject a thought. Think about your first crush that you ever had. This is a really good example. You accepted a thought, it created a feeling. Like, man, I got like goosebumps thinking about this person. My body's getting warm. I'm like getting up early. So in your subconscious mind, that's where the feeling is created. But your subconscious mind is only deductive. It can't kick out anything that you tell it. So if you convince it of a negative feeling, that negative feeling is going to be in there until you create a new feeling to change it. So auto-suggestion, and it's in Napoleon Hill's book, chapter 13, I believe. He studied 500 of the most successful people with Andrew Carnegie's help. And this is a chapter that he thought was important to write in the book. So auto-suggestion is self-suggestion. You're tricking your subconscious mind into believing what you want. So my subconscious mind doesn't know that I'm poor, broke, and depressed if I tell it that I'm happy, healthy, and wealthy. So since we can trick our subconscious mind into believing anything we want, we should tell it good things. So you want to go ahead and assume that you're already successful, you're already running your office, you're already financially independent, you're already strong and confident and happy and healthy and wealthy and lucky, whatever. Because what it does is it puts you in a vibration every day that makes you smile. Everyone say, I'm happy, healthy, wealthy 3 times out loud real quick. Ready, go.
I'm happy, healthy, wealthy.
Yeah. So most of you are smiling right now, right? And you've only said it 3 times and you're, oh, that's a cute trick, Michael. But why can't I convince myself of that every day that you can? And your subconscious mind is what produces, based on how you're feeling, produces what this instrument that we live in, our body, does every day. So good thought, good feeling, action, good. How do you usually do when you're on the bell the first hour in the field, the rest of the day? You usually do pretty good, right? Because you're telling yourself what? What are you telling yourself when you made $200 on your first customer?
I'm the man.
I'm the man. I'm $200 already. I'm like floating in the store. People walk by, they're like, what are you doing up there? You're like, oh, I don't know. I'm just made $200. How you doing? And you're just like floating around. There's no pain, right? There's no pressure. So how's the rest of your day go? You usually do like 3 or 4 more accounts. So it can happen like that. So why can't you tell yourself every day, hey, I'm worth $300 every day when I go in the field. That's my value. I'm a $300 guy every day. I'm a $300 girl. I'm going to work the system to a T. I'm going to be patient. And I'm going to sign up customers whenever they come. They might all come at the end today. I don't know, but I'm ready because I'm a $300 person every day. Now, you already know what you're going to get if you tell yourself, man, I hope I don't roll today. Just look what you're saying in that sentence. I hope I don't what? Roll today. Is that good to plant in your subconscious mind? Rolling? Unless you're in high school and it's homecoming and you're going to put toilet paper on the cheerleader's house or the captain of the football team's house. The only time you want to roll is never. Right? So rolling shouldn't even be in your vocabulary. That's why I want you to think about what you think about. Choose your words wisely each and every day. And because that's what the early Greeks called our heart. But they didn't mean the physical muscle that beats the blood through your body. They were talking about your subconscious mind where feeling is created based on a repetition of a thought. And that's why I use a first crush or a first kiss because everybody remembers that, right? Mine was Carrie Puckett. Thanks, Carrie. She totally took advantage of me in 6th grade. Way to go. No, I'm kidding. And maybe it was 8th grade. 8th grade? Yeah, maybe 8th grade. So, but I remember that, right? So your feelings create action and your actions create results, but it's all linked back to what we believe about ourselves. Maxwell Maltz wrote a book called Psycho-Cybernetics and basically
Incredible book. Incredible book.
Yeah, he basically came up with the fact that we have 2 images, our inner image, which is what we actually believe about ourselves, and then the outer image, which is what the image we portray to the world. You know, our hair, our makeup, our how we dress. But your inner image is the only one that matters. So that's why it's really important that you tell yourself that you're amazing, you're awesome. Your potential is infinite. And I used to say things like this, like, if Brandy can do it, so can I. If Brandy can do this, so can I. And I wasn't picking on Brandy. It's just, if she could do it, she's going to show me how to do it, then I can do it too. But that doesn't mean I get to lose my attitude and I have to be late and I show up sometimes prepared. No, I got to do my part because Brandy did her part. And so self-suggestion. So you want to write down, or you guys could start a group me called the Auto Suggestion Group Me. And then on there, you want to start your life with gratitude. I don't care what you have something. If you're on this call, You have your health. If you're on this call, you have friends on this call. So you have your health and you have friendships. Now you might not have the best apartment or the best car or whatever, we'll get those things eventually, but you want to start your life every day with your gratitude list and what you're grateful for. When's the last time you were thankful and grateful for your apartment or your suits or the people you work with or your mom and dad or whatever. So you want to start your day with gratitude. I'm so happy and grateful now that, because if you're not grateful for what you have, the law of attraction is not going to let you bring anything else into your life. You're working opposite. Thinking negative, trying to attract positive doesn't make any sense, does it? All right, so I'm grateful for my life, even though maybe I don't have a ton right now, or maybe I only got $100 in my bank account. Okay, but I'm grateful for that. $100 is more than zero. And then you want to start suggesting to yourself your goals and the feelings that you want to have. I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm running my own office and I love it. Well, maybe you're not running your own office yet, but your subconscious mind thinks that you are. And so here we go, right? I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm a consultant. I used to tell myself that in the field. I used to dream about what I was going to say when I got promoted to senior national. Like, that's how deep it went for me. I would I'd like to thank, my family. And I'd like to thank, all the managers. I knew there was going to be 30 managers in there. And I used to just dream about what I was going to say in the field. And people are like, oh, you're door-to-door job. No, I'm a consultant in training. If you're going to become a doctor and you live in a hospital for 2 years, you don't call yourself a lab rat. You go, I'm in my residency. But what are you really doing? You're a servant to the doctors for 2 straight years, doing whatever they tell you, and you're learning and you're paying to learn, but no one would ever say, yeah, I'm a room-to-room lab rat, lab servant for the doctors. No, you go, I'm in my residency at Johns Hopkins. How you doing? See how proud people are? They're paying 90 grand a year to do whatever the doctors tell them for 2 years. I have doctor friends. So that's what, we have these conversations and they're so proud because I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a doctor. Well, you're going to get your doctorates in MBA and small business management. That's what you're doing. And does it make any sense that you could teach someone how to do the field if you've never done it? We're not asking you to stay in the field any length of time. The time is up to you. But you have to do it if you're going to teach it. Because hypocrisy is not allowed in our business. So you are a consultant in training, you're an entrepreneur in training, and you are a multimillionaire in training. That's what you should convince yourself. And when customers tell you no soliciting or not interested, that person's not an entrepreneur. Because would any of you ever have a no soliciting sign on your door? No. Would you ever tell anyone to get a real job? No. So this is how you have to outthink the world, right? And since we have the power, we got to do it. So suggest to yourself that you're awesome. I think you're awesome. I think you're amazing. If you're on this call, you've decided you want something better out of life. So I'm proud of you for that. Stay around people that think the same way, educate yourself, hang around people that are going places, and you're going to be awesome. Thanks, Donnie. Appreciate that.
Michael, last thing I had this on my list I wanted to ask. So remember the time you got a chance to have lunch with Mark Cuban?
I do. Yeah.
Do you mind telling a little perspective about that story? Mark Cuban, for you guys that know, he's obviously a star of the Shark Tank. He owns the Dallas Mavericks, billionaire. You had a chance to meet a ton of really successful people, multimillionaires, lots of industries, athletes, but do you mind sharing the story about Mark Cuban? And we'll end on that one. And thanks again, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, anytime, man. Those guys put their pants on the same way you do, one leg at a time. So they weren't always, who they are. But we gave some money to, Jim Majeski donated some money to Starlight Starbright Foundation. It's one of Mark's big charities, and it helps children that have diseases communicate with each other via the computer, while they're dealing with their illnesses. And Jim donated a big chunk of change, and with the donation came courtside tickets to the Mavericks game and lunch with Mark Cuban. And so it was me and Jim, John Wiggins, and Matt Osborne. And we flew to Dallas, and we had lunch with Mark Cuban in a back room in the Palm restaurant, right at the grassy knoll where JFK was shot. There's a restaurant called the Palm. And Cuban came in the back door and met us in a room, private room, and we had lunch with him. And it was really awesome. He's a really nice guy. I remember asking him, I was like, how'd you know you were going to be a billionaire? And he's like, Micheal, I didn't know that. He's like, I love computers. He's like, and I love basketball. And he used to sell trash bags door to door so that he could buy the new Jordans. That's how much he loved basketball. He's from Indiana. And I don't know what it is about Indiana, but people from Indiana seem to love basketball. And Mark Cuban's one of those people. And so he invented broadcast.com, which allowed him and his buddies to be able to listen to the games when they couldn't be there. So this is way back, we had lunch with Cuban in, I think, 06 or 07. And he invented broadcast.com and then ended up selling it to Yahoo for $1 billion. And he's like, I love computers and I love basketball. And I fell in love with a way to learn how to, listen to the games. And then someone thought it was, a good idea, but he's always had that entrepreneur spirit, in his heart, like wanting to do something awesome. And so, he became, a billionaire. And he told me he bought for 500 grand American Airlines before he bought his Gulfstream 650. He bought a $500,000 pass anywhere in the world, anytime, first class on American Airlines. And they're actually the sponsor of his arena in Dallas. I think still American Airlines arena, but for 500K, he gave him half of a million, and he could fly anywhere first class for American. But he said after a while, he just got too crazy with people wanting to talk to him and stuff. So then he had the record online purchase. He bought a Gulfstream 650 for 30 million online. So I think he has the world record for the biggest online purchase. I don't, maybe someone's beaten it since then, but he was all about computers and being online and things like that. So yes, I had a chance to meet with him, and then we went to the game, and it was a cool experience.
Awesome. Well, Micheal, thank you again for getting on today. I've spent a ton of time with us. Really appreciate it. For any of you that don't have his book, the Handbook to You, I highly recommend it. A lot of the things you talked about today, you'll find throughout the chapters. I know in our office, Micheal, as people get promoted, oftentimes I give them your book. And the other little thing that he went over, gratitude, the 5-minute journal is something else that you can find on online. It's something that I write in every morning. It literally does exactly what you're talking about, things you're grateful for, how I'm going to look at my day. It's these little routines. Successful people leave clues. And, it's just a matter of your decision, like he talked about, if you want to decide to be successful. So thank you so much. Happy Tuesday, guys. We'll see you guys next time.